Hi, welcome to my sketchbook walkthrough. This is a sketchbook I started around the middle of 2020 and only finished near the end of 2020. These are sketches from around Halloween, stuff I might want to revisit later. This is based off, I think, some National Geographic photos. I'd have to track them down, but I'm not sure where they are now. My character is Zechariah, but as a child, in the canon of the story I have planned for him, he is mostly an adult except for in flashbacks. My favorite Cenobite from the Hellraiser franchise, which I've only seen 2 movies of, but I like the Chatterer. He's pretty neat. I do plan to come back and color this eventually. This is the start of a lot of what inspired my new work, which has a lot of the animal features and especially this color pattern in the horns. I do kind of like the texture on the leaves though, and the shape of the castle in the background. A witch for, probably think it was a little past Halloween, like the sort of spooky, vibrant colors. Ah yes, wife. Not hugely proud of this one, but I like the brush pen, so I was just trying to experiment a little. It'd probably look better if I had shaded it, but not a huge fan of shading. It's my least favorite part of drawing. There's those colors again that I like, with more of the spikes and body horror type stuff. This is a self-portrait from when my hair still looked like that. I think it was like an emoji challenge, which I used 3 different emojis and use it kind of as a mask. There's the batter from Off, which is one of my favorite games. It's one of those games that just seems extremely timeless, like you could play it anytime in the future and it still feel interesting and relevant. I do like the brush pen on the bottom part of him. It's another one of my characters, Lucas. It's from a meme. It's a redraw of a meme. It's like I realized and I couldn't stop realizing. It's another one I'd like to revisit, maybe improve upon. These are my Miss Peregrinoses. This is Eartha, Jayon, and Mercy. It's another redraw type thing. It's another character design I really like, with the just like the shape, the long hair, and everything. I think she has potential for it to be something interesting. I was feeling a little nostalgic when I drew her. It's new from Elfin Lied, which is not a show that you typically recommend people. It's one of those ones that you find on your own and just like never forget for whatever reason. Another character, this is Ren. He is the reincarnation of the Horseman of War for the apocalypse. He's probably going to fit into the story that Lucas fits into, but I'm still figuring out dynamics and storyline and how I'm gonna work everything in that. This one is just a doodle. There's really not much meaning to it. I saw a girl wearing an outfit kind of like this, and I kind of wanted to recreate that, and I was like, well, the page still seems a little empty, so I added the tiger in the background. I was like, it's kind of like a futuristic, weird sort of take on a Beauty and the Beast. So I did the text on the top, which I like that the text is consistent, but I'm not sure the font is fitting for it. Here's a really old OC that I redrew for like, just to revisit their design. Their name is Alexi, and they're like cyberpunk kind of character. A lot of this stuff feels really old to look at because it just feels so long ago that I drew it, even though it was only last year. It's my human Bill Cipher, which I never colored because I was afraid to mess it up. But maybe I'll come back and color it since I'm not as afraid of doing that anymore, since it's kind of settled. I'm not thinking about it as much. Here's a grown-up Zechariah. He's kind of a slasher type character, as you can probably tell by the vibes. This is Marlene. This isn't a canon sequence either. I'm still exploring their characters because I'm not exactly sure that's the dynamic I want them to have. I'd prefer if they were like more like rivals in the slasher final kind of way with maybe a twist. Oh, he's near and dear to my heart. This is Amos. He's a vampire, and there's a little joke on his shirt that says, "Please store in a cool, dark place." He's I think I had planned for him to be like a cleric in training, but I'm reworking the religious aspect of the world that he's from, so I might have to change that as well just to make everything make sense. Here's a sketch I planned and still plan to at some point transfer over to acrylic painting once I'm finished with the ones I'm working on right now. I've been calling her Apocalypse Mary. She is kind of like, and this is like an outsider's perspective because I've never played Death Stranding, but I'm getting Death Stranding vibes from her. Death Stranding maybe crossed with Dune or something. This is just a sketch, but a lot of some of the ideas in this have been revisited in some of the stuff I've been working on recently, like the body horror aspect and especially the proportions and stuff, which I'm noticing now his neck is probably a little bit too thick, but I do like the body horror angel sort of religious motifs. And that'd maybe be fun to go in watercolor if I redrew it. Revisiting another character. At this point in the year, like when I was making the sketchbook, I was going through and like taking OCs that I had liked in the past and sort of reworking them a little. This is one of my oldest OCs from he's from early high school. His name is Axton, and he's like the main character type. Sort of like the bad boy with the heart of gold trope. But he does end up dying and coming back to life a couple times in this series, so I wanted him to have this kind of like anatomical marks on him, like of autopsy marks of someone who's been like dissected and then sewn back up, kind of, but make them smoother because it does take place in a science fiction setting. These are just doodles. I do like this guy down here and this guy in the middle. Not as huge of fans of these. They seem a little messy to me, but it is just doodles, so I'm not really too concerned about it. This one is a character from another series. I'm the person who collects like my own stories and just has a hard time finishing them because I just keep thinking of other ways to add and improve onto them, and just if you write, you know the never-ending cycle. But this is Cherub, which is not his real name, but that's what a lot of people call him, and he's kind of undead. He was brought back to life with some questionable techniques, but obviously this probably wasn't a great day when I drew it, since it's a sketch and obviously it's not finished. But these are little doodles when I was planning, before I understood how expensive enamel pens are to purchase and design your own enamel pens. I was thinking about, I still like the cat flower and these ones, the angels need work, and the eye flower and everything else needs work. But these three have potential if they were maybe simplified a little more. Except maybe this one. These two need to be simplified, I think, though. Sketches that I don't like, but I'll show anyways just for posterity. There's more of Ren. He's very ooh-woo, very cute boy. Obviously, as the Horseman of War, though, he has some maybe violent tendencies. But, you know, you can't start a war if you ain't cute, I guess. Okay, these are my oldest OCs that I was revisiting during this, like, little period where I was just, like, into my OCs a whole lot. This is Lucy and Lily. They are obviously twins. In the story, basically Lucy's whole goal is to find Lily, since Lily had disappeared or like been taken or kidnapped. It's a little complicated, but when they were young children, and she's like spent her whole life like since then searching for her since she's like her best friend and her other half. And this is sort of like it was supposed to have like a sort of purple space background, but obviously never got finished. But once they're reunited and they both feel whole again. Here's more Ren, since I had designed him this year, like the first drawing. Actually, it was the first time I ever drew him, so I'm sort of figuring out, but he has that sort of like dark Lolita kind of feeling to him. And obviously I just love the idea of a character that is like really small, but just wields a massive weapon. It's just like as big as they are. So I think it's fun and like funny at the same time to have like this person who is like so tiny but extremely strong and formidable. Another character, this is Jeannie, and she's a work in progress. Here's her mask that I made for a thing that I just never did because I wasn't happy with the way it turned out, but the mask comes on and off. But she's really fun, I think, but like I said, she still needs a lot of work because a lot of my OCs end up feeling kind of samey. I fall into the same sort of tropes with them, and I think that's happening with her and maybe Ren and some of my other characters, which isn't bad to have tropes, but I'd like to be able to have all my characters be interesting and individual. We got some cats. I love these like little guys in their little sweaters, but this one girl here with her like little really long legs and sort of chubby, I like that. Just like when people draw cats that are just like this like amorphous like black shape with like cat eyes on it, where it's like, oh, that's a cat, but like it's mysterious, I guess. SCPs, if you don't know what that is, look it up. They're really fun. I know some people think the creepy ones are like all edgy and stuff, but when they do it right, they do it right. My favorite one obviously is 093, which the story, like, it gave me chills in kind of a way, but it's also like it leaves enough to the imagination to where you're afraid because you never fully understand what exactly happened. And obviously you have our classics. This is about the point where I started getting into slasher stuff a little bit more, and he's probably my favorite. It's from The Boy, 2016. It's Brahms Heelshire, and there's a line that you can't quite hear when they ask, the parents ask Greta to leave the room to be with the doll that she's supposed to be taking care of, also named Brahms. And you can sort of, if you turn the volume up here behind the door, him saying his cute voice, say, I think she's lovely, I think she should stay. And I kind of liked that line. It kind of stuck with me. And so I drew him while I was watching it for about the 6th time. A little bit of surrealism. It's another one I want to go back and maybe paint, because I do like a lot of the textures and like just like the shape of the ships in the background. And there's not really much story to this, except I just kind of wanted to experiment a little. These are dental phantoms. and poppy flowers. That I was sitting in the art building at my university, and I was just sketching a little bit before class, and I was kind of looking through my my feed on one of my social medias, and I saw them, and I was like, that's a really cool kind of concept where it's just like this mechanical thing with human teeth. I liked the idea. Thought it was really interesting. Here's where we get cringe, ladies and gentlemen. This is my fursona that I only recently designed, but I love like all of the like mossy kind of fur and like my signature yellow sweater and everything. I wanted the character design to be like spooky a little bit, because like I feel like cute spooky is kind of like my vibes now. I'm feeling that kind of aesthetic, and I wanted that to be something that was in place in my Sona. And I do want to go back and draw them more, because I am really proud of the way they turned out. There is another sketch of them in here somewhere. These are more sketches of Zechariah and Ren. Ren not in a dress for once, but I always draw these two in warm colors, because I just think the warm colors are like, I don't want to say more aggressive, but definitely more like in your face than say like something soft like a blue, like I used for the knife. You can see this actually pertains to his story, but I don't want to get into like super spoilers right now in case I actually end up getting like some kind of like fan base about it. But if anyone's curious, I will explain. You can also see starting to like cement Ren's design here with the extremely fluffy hair. That's sort of like, it does that Ghibli thing. And he always has like the hearts in his eyes and these really like luscious eyelashes and stuff, and obviously the heart motif, because I just, the love core thing, but like ramped up to 11 and they made it like maybe a little grimdark with it. There's my Sona again, but a little bit more fuzzy. I was playing with the different horns and the maybe like actually figuring out how the hands work. And again, the heart, because I just like the shape of hearts. I just think they're cute. Here's a spookier version of my Sona, but again with the this sort of like star like radiating shape. And this guy down here, which I like the colors on him, but I like all these guys a lot. And the heart again on the palm of the hand, which I think is really neat. More Ren, since I was in like a huge like phase about him. Favorite drawing on this page is probably down here with the gas mask girl with her little flower crown. And just some spooky guys, but they don't mean anything really. These are some little characters that, again, they don't really mean anything, but I designed them just because there is a little trend I saw floating around on Tumblr that was like just these little cats with little like fruits and objects on their head, like little object heads. And this is Fig Head, and this is Cottage Head, and they're best friends. And there's Fig Head is more of a slightly more realistic cat as opposed to a very cartoony like animated kitty cat. I had just finished Halfway VR AI, and I was thinking about him, as we all do. So I was just figuring out there's lots of different ways that people interpret his design. I like the round one, but I'm a huge fan of like when he just like usually looks like this, but when he gets like spooky near the fourth act and he starts to get like maybe just a little bit more alien with like more teeth than like maybe the average person, whereas he's usually just like a strange looking man. Obviously if you've seen Beetlejuice you know what these two are, but I was enamored by like the effects and just like the overall aesthetic of this movie, and it's still one of my favorite movies to this day. I just love that, like, these two, like, very normal, average, like Connecticut people or whatever, that, like, they become the spooky, like, monstrous creatures for, like, a couple scenes, and I just love it. I just love, like, the creepiness aspect of it. That's just, it'll maybe make your skin crawl as a child, but looking back, you're, like, really endeared by it. More doodles. Not much to say about this page. I don't really care for pretty much all the drawings on this. There's Deanie again when I was reworking her, and the main character of the series here, Theta, who is complicated. But these aren't even final designs either. I'm more happy with the way that Theta looks, but Jeannie just doesn't look quite right to me yet. But I do like the idea of her having, like, a lot of tech skills, as opposed to Theta, who arguably should have a lot of tech skills but doesn't. Empty paper, probably to keep the smudging down. But a couple characters I just designed for fun. Obviously they're not finished, but I do like the sort of, like, magical sort of aspect to them. I did give them names, so we have Sunny, Grigori, and Lenore, and they're married, and that's their daughter, but there's not much to tell about them otherwise. There used to be another drawing on this page, but I went back recently and erased it because I couldn't stand it. It was ugly, and I didn't want it to be in my sketchbook anymore, and so I covered it with I erased it and put this in, which I need to go and finish and actually post it to my my Instagram. But I do like how the wings look so far, and I like the target kind of shape on the face, but it's a little bit more gory than I usually draw. But he's all right. Human versions of Fig and Cottage with another one of these guys and more of these star shapes. Yeah, but they're cowboys, because cringe culture is dead. More doodles. These were kind of sketches I was thinking about when I was taking printmaking, when I just wasn't sure what my next project would be. Of course, you have more of the star shapes. I like this guy right here, and this is a young Sally face that I never colored, but maybe I'll go back and color this whole page because I do like these ones. Some more sketches. I like this guy. And there's Cottage, which I need to fix his eyes because they look a little bit wonky. Old characters that I drew once and forgot about that I finally gave them names recently. This is Finian, and this is Deidre. Deidre is a half-elf wizard and specializes in healing. And and Finn is a satyr, he's a druidic necromancer who is he's a fighter type, which he has all these bandages because he's not careful. There's a Zechariah because he wasn't big enough, he wasn't intimidating enough. So I was like, well, I gotta make him bigger. And I might end up changing the fact that he has this oversized sweater because something about it just doesn't fit quite right, so maybe I've got to rework his silhouette. But yeah. Oh, there's another sketch from when I was doing printmaking, which obviously I never finished it, so I didn't use it in the actual class, but I do like the concept of the lily pad type shape and the horror element of the spikes. Just the shape of everything kind of looks nice and pleasing to me, I guess. I took a makeup class recently, and we were supposed to make a drag sona, and this is my drag sona, which her makeup ended up looking different than it does here, but I do want to revisit this kind of idea of all these lines and stuff. But her name is Chartreuse because the dress I chose to wear was this obnoxious sparkly chartreuse dress. She's got a lot of flowers, and I wanted her to have that like Southern belle, like Dolly Parton big hair, but wigs are apparently expensive, which I wouldn't know because I've never had hair before, really. Not like that anyways. That's a sketch that I don't like very much, so you don't have to look at it for very long. This is another character from the story that Lucas is the main character in. Her name is Jillian, and she is she can like read meat, like in sort of like a psychic kind of way, where she can sort of read the memories of meat and like the feelings that maybe like the living thing that the meat once belonged to had. And this is her new design, because I thought that she just she looked too flat, and so I sort of changed the shape of her nose and gave her a stronger sense of style, and put some sandals on her, because I never draw characters in sandals because it's just easier to draw boots. And I know it's a bad habit, but here she's holding a pig head, and she's one of those characters that I think is like a lot of other characters in the canon of the story she takes place in finds like creepy and off-putting, but really she's a very kind person that's just like stuck with this like unique ability. I also, as sort of a joke, but also because I just like ironic sort of character traits that contrast each other. She can read meat, but she cannot smell. She lacks a sense of smell, and so it's kind of one of those things. It is kind of funny, but I didn't do it to be funny. I think this is the last page, but there is some other things behind the page. It's more Half-Life VR AI art that Gordon just doesn't look quite right, but I do like the shape of his nose. And I don't know if you can tell that Tommy's my favorite, but I love Tommy. We love Tommy. And little tiny Dr. Bubby down here with his little fire hands. But I do want to draw some more of them, because the characters are just so fun and unique, and they contrast each other really well, and they complement each other really well. But I love when people draw Tommy wearing like these like regular people's like shoes and stuff. He's like, or no, my favorite thing when people draw Tommy is when he has like his little propeller hat like floating above his head, which I don't know if that's meant to be like a glitch, or it's just meant to be like because he ain't human, but or he's debatably human, I should say, because it's not really confirmed either way. But now for the special features. We have I was doing an animatic for Axton that I didn't. My controversial opinion is that Frozen 2 wasn't that great, but Show Yourself hit me so hard, and I couldn't stop thinking about it from like his character's point of view, as someone who's like been searching for his like family his whole life basically, and he can't remember anything about them, and he finally gets the opportunity to meet them, and it's like it's not what he expected, everything, but he's just like so excited to like do that. It's like his life's purpose. Like, so this is something I probably want to revisit eventually, but maybe I won't, because I don't do a lot of digital art, since I don't have that kind of skill set yet. My computer kind of sucks, but that's not the point. Here's the original drawings of Eartha and Jayon and Mercy. Yeah, I didn't see anything about their peculiarities, but Eartha has like bug wings, and she has like she's like extremely light, so she can sort of like, she can fly if she gets a like jumping start from like a high place, but she can sort of glide a little bit because of like the wings and her weight and stuff. But her whole her family, it skips like a couple generations, like most peculiars. So like her grandmother had it, and her mom had a really weak variant of it, and like she has it, but it's like a lot stronger like her grandmother was. But with Jayon, he has this tummy mouth, which is kind of like he's kind of the strong silent type, but the mouth does a lot of like persuasive talking that like has gotten him into trouble when he was younger, so like he tries not to like let it do that anymore, but mouth gonna do what the mouth gonna do. Oh, and their cat's psychic too, but like she's not like smart. She's like a you know, like orange tabby cats, how orange tabby cats are. But that's the end of my sketchbook tour. Thanks for watching.